The unveiling. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with the usual hum of interstellar diplomacy. Alien delegates from a dozen different species debated among themselves, their voices blending into a cacophony of alien languages and gestures. The meeting had been progressing smoothly until an emergency transmission crackled to life, demanding immediate attention. The screen flickered, revealing an unexpected sight that left the entire council in stunned silence. Captain Marcus Avery stood on the bridge of the United Earth battleship, the Vanguard, his face set in a determined grimace. For too long, Earth had been dismissed as a minor player in the galaxy, its people deemed primitive and unworthy of serious consideration. But now, with their colonies burning and their lives at stake, humanity had chosen to reveal its hidden strength. The Vanguard, Earth's secret fleet's pride, was a symbol of humanity's resolve and innovation. Esteemed council members, Avery's voice resonated through the chamber, filled with a gravity that demanded attention. For years, you have belittled and ignored our struggles. You denied us a seat at this table, but now, when our people are threatened by the Zorgan menace, we reveal our true power. Behold, the United Earth Fleet, hidden from your sight until now. The council erupted into chaos. Some members called for immediate sanctions, while others demanded humanity's swift extermination. Avery, standing resolute, felt the weight of his decision bearing down on him. The secret fleet, a product of years of covert preparation, was humanity's last hope against extinction. The Zorgan threat was real, and Earth's survival depended on the fleet's success. As the Vanguard set course for the front lines, Avery's thoughts were consumed by the devastation of Earth's colonies and the chilling message left by the Zorgans. Earth is next. The Zorgans had threatened, and Avery was determined to ensure they would learn the folly of underestimating human resolve. On the bridge of the Vanguard, Avery's crew moved with purpose, navigating through the perilous expanse of Zorgan territory. The ship's sensors were on high alert, scanning for any sign of enemy activity. Suddenly, the ship's alarms blared, and the view screen was filled with the ominous sight of a vast Zorgan armada. The crew fell silent, their faces reflecting the gravity of the situation. "Sir, we are being hailed by the Zorgan flagship," Lieutenant Carver reported, her voice tinged with tension. Avery squared his shoulders and took a deep breath before addressing the Zorgan warlord on the screen. The image of Warlord Kor, his reptilian features twisted into a sneer, dominated the display. "Captain Avery," Kor's voice was a guttural growl, "your secret fleet has been impressive, but your time is up. We have been watching you, studying your every move. You humans have grown too bold, too dangerous. Surrender now, and your deaths will be swift." Avery met Kor's gaze with unwavering resolve. "I will never surrender to you, Kor. We've seen what you do to those who submit. If it's a fight you want, then a fight you'll get." Kor's laugh was a harsh, chilling sound that reverberated through the communication channels. "So be it, Captain. Prepare to be destroyed." The screen went dark, and Avery turned to his crew with a commanding tone. "Battle stations. Prepare to engage the enemy." The Vanguard surged forward, breaking formation as it prepared to confront the Zorgan forces. The Zorgans, taken aback by the sudden assault, opened fire with their formidable weapons. But to their shock, the human ship's advanced shielding technology absorbed the blows, a testament to the secrecy and efficiency of Earth's fleet. Human ships retaliated with precision, their weaponry cutting through Zorgan hulls with devastating effectiveness. Explosions erupted in the void as Zorgan vessels were torn apart. Kor's eyes widened in disbelief as his armada struggled to hold its ground. The Vanguard and its fleet maneuvered with tactical brilliance, exploiting the weaknesses in the Zorgan formation. However, the battle was far from over. Kor rallied his remaining forces, concentrating their fire on the Vanguard. The flagship shuddered under the onslaught, its shields straining to protect it from the relentless barrage. "Shields at 30%, shouted one of Avery's crew members over the din of battle. "We can't take much more of this." Avery's jaw tightened, reroute all auxiliary power to shields. We are not backing down. The crew worked furiously, diverting every ounce of power to the failing shields. Avery knew that retreat was not an option. The Vanguard had to make a stand here and now. "Captain, I have an idea," Commander Reeves said, his eyes alight with inspiration. "If we can get close enough to Core's ship, we can target their main power core. It's a risky move, but it might be our only chance." Avery nodded decisively. "Do it. Take us in at full speed." The Vanguard surged forward, weaving through the chaos of battle. Its hull was scorched and battered, but it pressed on. Core's ship loomed ahead, a massive behemoth bristling with weapons. The Vanguard locked on its target, and Reeves prepared to fire. "Fire," Avery commanded. A brilliant lance of energy erupted from the Vanguard, piercing the heart of Core's ship. Time seemed to stand still as the energy cut through the Zorgan flagship, and then a blinding explosion shattered the ship, splitting it in two. Core's roar of rage echoed through the communication channels as his fleet faltered. With their leader defeated, the Zorgan forces began to retreat, fleeing back into the depths of their territory. On the bridge of the Vanguard, the crew erupted in cheers, having achieved the impossible. As the Vanguard limped back to Earth, its crew exhausted but victorious, Avery knew that the battle was just the beginning. Earth had revealed its hand, and the galaxy would never be the same. The victory against the Zorgans was a testament to humanity's strength and resolve, but Avery understood that greater challenges lay ahead. The Zorgans would return, and Earth would be ready to face them, fighting for its place among the stars. The Council's verdict. The news of Earth's triumph against the Zorgans reverberated through the galaxy like a supernova, drawing widespread attention and intrigue. Back on Earth, the victory was celebrated with fervor. Streets were filled with cheering crowds, flags waving proudly, and jubilant gatherings in every corner. Humanity had proven itself against a formidable foe, and the spirit of victory was palpable. However, amidst the celebrations, a shadow loomed over the planet. News from the Galactic Council was imminent. Captain Marcus Avery had returned to Earth, and the atmosphere on the Vanguard's bridge was one of both relief and anxiety. Avery knew that their success would not go unnoticed or unpunished. The Council's message had already been transmitted to Earth, and the call to answer for their actions was unavoidable. Avery prepared himself for the diplomatic gauntlet that awaited. The Galactic Council's chamber was an imposing futuristic space filled with representatives from countless alien species. Each delegate sat in their ornate seats, their expressions a mix of curiosity, anger, and apprehension. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation as Captain Avery entered the chamber, dressed in his formal uniform. The council members' eyes followed him, their whispers a low murmur of speculation. Councillor Zath, a striking figure with sharp, angular features, sat in a high position on the podium, his gaze piercing and authoritative. He looked down at Avery with a cold, commanding presence. The council had convened to address the breach of galactic treaties and the unauthorized military action taken by Earth. "Captain Avery," Zath's voice rang out, crisp and unyielding. "You stand before us charged with violating the established galactic treaties and engaging in actions that could destabilize our collective security. How do you respond to these accusations?" Avery stood tall, meeting Zath's gaze with unflinching resolve. "Councillor Zath, I am here to account for my actions, but I will not apologize for defending my people. The Zorgans were a direct threat to our survival. The Council's inaction left us with no other choice." Zath's expression remained stern, though there was a hint of intrigue in his eyes. "You claim the Council's inaction forced your hand, yet your methods were both clandestine and aggressive. You have exposed our collective vulnerabilities and challenged our authority." Avery took a deep breath, choosing his words carefully. "With all due respect, Councillor, the Zorgans were exterminating our people while the Council did nothing. We acted out of necessity to protect our homes and our lives. If the Council's policies were more responsive, perhaps we would not have been pushed to such extremes." Zath leaned back in his chair, a faint, enigmatic smile playing on his lips. "Your boldness is admirable, Captain Avery, but you must understand that there are repercussions to such actions. The stability of the galaxy is a delicate balance, and your interference threatens that balance." Avery's eyes narrowed with determination. "If the Council cannot offer us the protection we need, then we will stand on our own. We will not be constrained by rules that fail to safeguard our lives." Zath regarded Avery with a mix of respect and disdain. "You are indeed a bold human, Captain. I will make a proposal to you. The Council is willing to overlook your transgressions if you agree to share your advanced technology with us. In return, you must submit to our oversight and control. This way, we can ensure that such actions do not jeopardize galactic harmony in the future." Avery's heart sank at the suggestion. The deal was a double-edged sword, an offer of safety in exchange for Earth's autonomy. "We will not become puppets of the Council. Our technology is our own, and we will not trade our independence for a false sense of security." Zath's eyes hardened. "You are making a grave mistake, Captain Avery. The Council will not tolerate defiance. Prepare for the consequences of your actions." With those words, Zath signaled the end of the hearing. Avery knew that the path ahead would be fraught with challenges. As he walked out of the Council chambers, he felt the weight of the galaxy's gaze upon him. The stakes had been raised, and Earth's future now depended on their ability to navigate the treacherous waters of galactic politics and conflict. Back on Earth, the atmosphere was tense. The celebrations of victory were tempered by the looming threat of retaliation from the Council. The news of Avery's defiance spread quickly, and the public was divided between pride in their newfound strength and fear of the repercussions. In the coming days, Avery focused on preparing Earth for the inevitable backlash. He worked closely with military leaders and scientists to fortify defenses and develop new strategies. The Zorgans were expected to return with renewed determination, and the Galactic Council's displeasure could bring additional challenges. The Earth Defense Command, a coalition of the best minds and the most skilled soldiers, gathered to devise a plan. The meeting rooms were filled with holographic displays, star maps, and tactical projections. Avery's leadership was crucial as they navigated the complexities of the impending conflicts. His resolve was unshaken, and his commitment to protecting humanity remained unwavering. As Earth prepared for the uncertain future, Avery's thoughts were consumed by the sacrifices made and the battles to come. The victory against the Zorgans was only the beginning, and the galaxy's eyes were now fixed on Earth. The challenge of defending their home while contending with galactic powers was a daunting task, but Avery and his team were determined to face it head-on. The stage was set for a dramatic confrontation that would test humanity's resilience and ingenuity. Avery knew that the next chapter in their fight for survival was about to unfold, and he was ready to lead Earth through whatever challenges lay ahead. The Alliance forms. As Earth braced itself for the inevitable repercussions from the Galactic Council and the looming threat of the Zorgans, Captain Marcus Avery knew that Earth could not face these challenges alone. The conflict had already shown the limits of their isolation, and they needed allies to bolster their defenses and secure their place in the galaxy. Avery's mind turned to the possibilities of forming alliances with other species who might share their concerns about the Council's dominance. One name stood out in Avery's thoughts: the Valkorians. The Valkorians were a proud, warrior-like race who had long been disillusioned with the Council's oppressive bureaucracy. Their leader, Rios, had sent a message proposing an alliance, and Avery saw this as a crucial opportunity. He had heard of the Valkorians' formidable combat skills and advanced technology, both of which could be invaluable in the upcoming conflicts. The meeting with Rios was set to take place on a neutral space station, far from the tensions of Earth and Zorgan space. The station was a marvel of galactic engineering, designed to facilitate diplomatic discussions and trade. Its sleek design and bustling activity were a stark contrast to the tense atmosphere that awaited Avery and Rios. Captain Avery arrived at the station with his delegation, ready to discuss the potential alliance. As he disembarked from his shuttle, he was greeted by Rios and his honor guard. Rios was a tall, imposing figure with an air of authority and strength. His eyes were sharp, and his demeanor was one of confidence and resolve. The Valkorian leader's presence commanded respect, and Avery felt a sense of cautious optimism. "Captain Avery," Rios greeted with a nod. "It is an honor to meet you in person. I have heard much about your victory and your defiance of the Council." "The honor is mine, Rios," Avery replied, shaking the Valkorian leader's hand. "We are here because we share a common goal: to stand against the oppressive forces that threaten our existence. Your proposal of an alliance is one we take very seriously." The two leaders made their way to a conference room designed for high-level negotiations. The room was equipped with advanced holographic displays and communication tools, offering a panoramic view of the station's bustling spaceport. As they settled into their seats, the seriousness of their discussion became evident. "I am glad to hear that you see the value in our alliance," Rios began. "The Valkorians have long been wary of the Council's manipulation and control. Your recent actions have exposed their vulnerability, and it is an opportunity we cannot afford to ignore." Avery nodded. "We are committed to defending our home and ensuring that we are not subjugated by the Council or any other force. Your support could turn the tide in our favor. Together, we can demonstrate that the Council's dominance is not absolute." Rios's eyes gleamed with determination. "We have already begun preparing our forces. Our ships are among the most advanced in the galaxy, and our warriors are skilled in both combat and strategy. We are prepared to fight alongside you against the Zorgans and any who seek to undermine our freedom." The discussion turned to strategy and logistics. Avery and Rios delved into the details of their plan, examining star maps and intelligence reports. They identified key targets in Zorgan space, crucial points where a combined attack could have the greatest impact. The Valkorians' expertise in warfare complemented the advanced technology of Earth's fleet, creating a formidable partnership. The plan was ambitious: a coordinated strike against the heart of Zorgan space, aimed at dismantling their leadership and crippling their military capabilities. The combined fleet would target critical infrastructure and key strategic locations, hoping to weaken the Zorgan Empire and force them into a defensive position. As the meeting progressed, Avery and Rios' collaboration deepened. They discussed the challenges they would face, including potential Council interference and the logistical complexities of a large-scale military operation. Despite these obstacles, their mutual respect and shared goals provided a strong foundation for their alliance. With the plan in place, Avery and Rios concluded their meeting. The alliance was solidified, and both leaders were committed to the mission ahead. They parted ways with a sense of purpose and determination, knowing that the success of their combined efforts could change the course of galactic history. As Captain Avery returned to Earth, he felt a renewed sense of hope. The alliance with the Valkorians was a significant step forward, and it represented a powerful shift in the balance of power. Earth was no longer alone in its fight for survival. It now had a formidable ally to stand beside it. Back on Earth, preparations for the upcoming battle intensified. The combined forces of Earth and the Valkorians began to mobilize, their fleets assembling and training for the operation ahead. The atmosphere was charged with a sense of anticipation, as soldiers and pilots alike prepared for the conflict that would test their resolve and skill. The Zorgans, unaware of the full extent of the Alliance's plans, continued their preparations for a counterattack. Their leadership, still reeling from the loss of their flagship and the unexpected strength of Earth's fleet, sought ways to reassert their dominance. The Zorgans were determined to crush the human threat and restore their position of power. As the final preparations for the joint assault approached, both Earth and Valkorian forces readied themselves for the confrontation that would determine their fate. The stage was set for a dramatic clash that would test the limits of their combined strength and strategy. Captain Avery, standing on the bridge of the Vanguard, looked out at the stars with a sense of resolve. The battle ahead would be arduous, but with the Valkorians by their side, Earth had a fighting chance. The Alliance had forged a new path, and the fight for freedom and survival was just beginning. The battle begins. The time had come for the combined fleets of Earth and the Valkorians to launch their ambitious assault on Zorgan space. The day was marked by an uneasy calm, the final moments before a storm of conflict. Captain Avery stood at the command center of the flagship Vanguard, his gaze fixed on the vast expanse of space displayed on the bridge's panoramic view screen. The anticipation among the crew was palpable, their faces reflecting a mix of determination and anxiety. As the countdown to launch began, Avery reviewed the final briefing with his officers. The plan was straightforward but risky. The objective was to strike at the heart of the Zorgan Empire, targeting key military installations and leadership hubs. The aim was to destabilize their command structure and weaken their ability to wage war. The Vanguard would lead the assault, supported by Valkorian warships and a contingent of Earth's most advanced battleships. "All systems check," Lieutenant Commander Sarah Lai reported, her voice steady despite the tension. "Weapons online, shields at full strength, and the fleet is ready for departure." "Good," Avery responded, nodding. "Initiate the jump to Zorgan space on my mark." As the final seconds ticked away, Avery took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the upcoming battle settle on his shoulders. The stakes were high, and the success of the mission could alter the course of the war. With a firm command, he gave the order to jump. The Vanguard and its allied fleet slipped into hyperspace, the familiar blur of stars quickly giving way to the darkness of the Zorgan territory. The transition was smooth, and within moments, the fleet emerged at the edge of Zorgan space, poised for the attack. The Zorgan homeworld, a sprawling industrial planet encircled by defensive satellites and warships, came into view. The sheer scale of the Zorgan's military presence was daunting, but Avery's resolve did not waver. The Valkorian ships, sleek and formidable, moved into formation alongside the Earth fleet, ready for the assault. "Fleet, prepare for engagement," Avery ordered. "We're going to hit them hard and fast. Remember, our goal is to disrupt their command and create chaos." The Allied fleet advanced toward the Zorgan defenses, their weapons primed and shields at maximum. As they approached, the Zorgan forces began to stir, their sensors picking up the incoming threat. Alarms blared across the Zorgan ships, and the defensive formations quickly shifted into action. The first wave of Zorgan fighters emerged from their hangars, swooping towards the approaching fleet. The Vanguard's turbolasers fired in precise bursts, cutting through the enemy fighters with deadly accuracy. Valkorian ships joined the fray, their advanced weaponry complementing the human fleet's firepower. The space around them erupted into a chaotic dance of energy blasts and explosions. The Vanguard's tactical systems worked tirelessly to analyze and respond to the evolving battle. Avery watched as Zorgan capital ships loomed ahead, their massive frames bristling with weaponry. The fleet's strategy relied on hitting these key targets to cripple Zorgan command and communication. "Target the Zorgan command ship," Avery directed. "Concentrate firepower on their bridge and communication arrays." The Vanguard and its allies unleashed a concentrated barrage of energy beams and missiles. The Zorgan command ship, a massive vessel adorned with ominous dark plating, took the brunt of the assault. Explosions ripped through its hull, and the once formidable flagship began to falter, its defenses buckling under the relentless assault. Amidst the chaos, Valkorian ships maneuvered with precision, their advanced technology allowing them to outmaneuver and outgun the Zorgan fighters. The combined might of the Earth and Valkorian fleets was a sight to behold, their coordinated attacks creating a formidable front against the Zorgan defenses. On the Zorgan homeworld, the leaders of the Empire watched in alarm as their forces were pushed back. Warlord Kak, still reeling from the loss of his flagship and the unexpected strength of the Allied fleet, raged against his subordinates. "Where is our reinforcements?" Kak roared. "We need more forces to contain this attack." His command officers scrambled to respond, but the situation continued to deteriorate. The Zorgans had underestimated the strength of the combined Earth and Valkorian forces, and their once imposing defenses were crumbling under the relentless pressure. As the battle raged on, Captain Avery and his crew fought with determination and skill. The Vanguard's tactical team executed flawless maneuvers, exploiting weaknesses in the Zorgan formations and maintaining a relentless assault. The combined fleets worked in harmony, their strategies and tactics weaving a complex but effective pattern of attack. The battle reached a critical point as the Allied forces moved to strike at the Zorgans' central command complex. The complex, a sprawling network of fortifications and control centers, was crucial to the Zorgans' ability to coordinate their military operations. Taking it down would significantly impact their war efforts. The Vanguard led the assault on the complex, its powerful weaponry carving a path through the Zorgan defenses. The Valkorian ships provided cover, their advanced shields absorbing enemy fire and allowing the Vanguard to press forward. Explosions and energy blasts filled the space around the command complex, creating a chaotic battlefield. Inside the complex, Zorgan leaders scrambled to mount a defense, their control centers struggling to cope with the onslaught. The command structure was in disarray, and the Zorgan forces found themselves increasingly unable to coordinate their efforts. With a final, decisive strike, the Vanguard breached the command complex. The explosion that followed was a spectacular display of energy and destruction. The heart of the Zorgan command shattered. The Zorgan forces, their command structure in ruins, began to retreat in disarray, their once unified front collapsing. On the bridge of the Vanguard, Avery surveyed the battlefield with a mixture of relief and determination. The immediate threat to their mission had been neutralized, but he knew that the war was far from over. The victory was a significant blow to the Zorgans, but it was only a step in a larger conflict. "Status report," Avery commanded. "Zorgan forces are in full retreat," Lieutenant Commander Lai reported. "The command complex has been destroyed, and our forces are securing the area." "Good work, everyone," Avery said. "We've dealt a heavy blow to the Zorgans, but we must remain vigilant. The Council will be watching, and the Zorgans will regroup." As the Allied fleet began to secure the area and assess the damage, Captain Avery took a moment to reflect on the battle. The alliance with the Valkorians had proven to be a powerful force, and their combined efforts had achieved a critical victory. The war was far from over, but this triumph had demonstrated the strength and resolve of those who dared to defy oppression. With the immediate threat addressed, the focus shifted to the next phase of their campaign. Earth and the Valkorians would continue to fight for their freedom, working together to challenge the dominance of the Council and secure a future of independence and self-determination. Captain Avery knew that the battle had only just begun, and the road ahead would be fraught with challenges. But with allies like the Valkorians by their side and the spirit of resilience guiding them, Earth was ready to face whatever lay ahead. The fight for freedom and survival was far from over, and the story of their struggle was only beginning to unfold. The aftermath and the rising tides. The aftermath of the battle left a profound mark on both the Zorgan Empire and the Allied forces. The Zorgan homeworld, once a bastion of military might, now lay scared from the intense conflict. Debris from destroyed ships and shattered space stations drifted through the void, evidence of the fierce clash that had taken place. Amidst the wreckage, the Vanguard and the Valkorian ships began the process of securing and salvaging what remained. Captain Avery stood on the bridge of the Vanguard, his gaze fixed on the viewscreen displaying the damage. The battle had been hard-fought, and while the victory was significant, the cost had been high. The crew was tired but relieved, their morale buoyed by the success. The Vanguard systems were operational but in need of repair, and the casualties, though not catastrophic, were a somber reminder of the toll of war. "Damage control teams are reporting in," Lieutenant Commander Lai announced, her voice steady. "We've sustained significant damage to the outer hull and several of our weapon systems. Engineering teams are on it, but it will take time to get everything back to full operational status." Avery nodded, acknowledging the report. Understood. Prioritize repairs to the main weapons and shield systems. We need to be ready for any potential counterattacks. As the crew worked to repair the ship, Avery took some time to review the intelligence gathered during the battle. The destruction of the Zorgan command complex had dealt a severe blow to their command structure, but it was clear that the Zorgans would regroup and attempt to retaliate. The victory had shifted the balance, but it had not ended the conflict. Meanwhile, on the Valkorian flagship, the discussions were centered around the next steps. Rios, the Valkorian leader, met with Captain Avery and his senior staff to review the outcomes of the battle and strategize for future operations. "The victory we've achieved is impressive," Rios said, his voice carrying the weight of his people's pride and hope. "But we must be cautious. The Zorgans will not take this lightly. They will seek to regroup and strike back." Avery nodded in agreement. "We need to use this momentum to our advantage. Let's focus on consolidating our gains and preparing for the next phase of the conflict. We should also reach out to other potential allies who might be willing to join our cause." The alliance with the Valkorians had proven to be a powerful asset, and Avery was keenly aware of the importance of building a broader coalition. The Council would be watching closely, and the Zorgans would undoubtedly seek to rally their allies. It was crucial to maintain the initiative and ensure that their victories translated into strategic advantages. As the days passed, the Vanguard and its allies worked tirelessly to repair their ships and prepare for the next phase of their campaign. The battle had demonstrated the effectiveness of their combined forces, and the prospect of further cooperation with the Valkorians and other potential allies offered hope for the future. The news of the battle's outcome spread rapidly throughout the galaxy. The victory against the Zorgans was a major development, and it captured the attention of numerous factions and races. Some viewed it as a sign of strength and a beacon of hope, while others saw it as a threat to the established order. The Galactic Council, in particular, was thrown into turmoil. The Council members were deeply concerned about the implications of Earth's actions and the potential for further unrest. The message from Earth and its allies had been clear. They were no longer content to remain under the Council's control. Councillor Zath, the same official who had summoned Avery to answer for his actions, was particularly vocal in his condemnation of the conflict. He called for an emergency session of the Council to address the growing threat posed by Earth and its allies. The emergency session was held in the Grand Chamber of the Council's headquarters, a place of grandeur and authority. The Council members gathered, their expressions a mix of concern and determination. Zath addressed the assembly, his voice carrying a tone of urgency. "We face a dire situation," Zath began. "The actions of Earth and its allies have challenged the stability of our governance. They have demonstrated their ability to wage war against a major power, and their defiance cannot be ignored." The Council members exchanged uneasy glances. The balance of power in the galaxy was shifting, and the Council's authority was being questioned. The fear of losing control and the potential for widespread rebellion loomed over the proceedings. "We must respond decisively," Zath continued. "Our priority must be to reassert our authority and address the threat posed by Earth. We cannot allow this defiance to undermine the stability of our governance." The Council's deliberations were intense, with discussions focused on potential strategies to counter the growing influence of Earth and its allies. The Zorgans, while still reeling from their defeat, were not the only concern. The Council also considered the possibility of other races joining the alliance against them. Back on Earth, the mood was a mixture of relief and anticipation. The victory had bolstered public morale, and celebrations erupted across the planet. People took to the streets, celebrating the bravery of their soldiers and the success of their mission. The triumph against the Zorgans was seen as a symbol of human resilience and strength. However, amidst the celebrations, there was also a sense of unease. The conflict with the Council was just beginning, and the uncertainty of what lay ahead was a constant reminder of the stakes involved. Captain Avery and his team remained focused on their preparations, aware that the real test was yet to come. In the heart of the Council's chambers, the strategies for dealing with Earth were being crafted. The Council's resolve to maintain control was unwavering, and they prepared for the possibility of escalating the conflict. The next moves would be critical in determining the future of the galaxy and the balance of power. As the Vanguard and its allies continued their preparations, the stage was set for the next chapter of the conflict. The fight for freedom and autonomy was far from over, and the galaxy watched with bated breath as the players in this grand struggle prepared for the battles to come. The galaxy was a tumultuous sea of shifting alliances and brewing conflicts as Captain Avery and his coalition readied themselves for the ultimate confrontation with the Zorgans and the Galactic Council. With the formation of the Council's Special Task Force, the stakes had never been higher. The coalition knew that their next moves would be pivotal in deciding the outcome of their struggle for freedom and autonomy. The Vanguard, alongside their Valkorian and Garlith allies, had established a strong defensive perimeter around their key strategic locations. They had fortified their positions and were prepared to counter any attack. The task force's movements were closely monitored, and every piece of intelligence was scrutinized for signs of an impending assault. In the Vanguard's command center, Avery and his senior officers reviewed the latest reports. The intelligence indicated that the task force was preparing for a major offensive. Their targets were crucial supply depots and communication nodes that could cripple the coalition's ability to coordinate and respond effectively. "Everyone knows what's at stake," Avery said, addressing his team. "We have to be prepared for a concerted attack. The task force will be relentless, and we need to ensure that our defenses are impenetrable. We're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for the future of our people and our freedom." Rios, the Valkorian leader, stood beside Avery. His eyes were filled with determination. "We've come a long way, Captain. The unity of our forces is our greatest strength. If we stand together and fight with everything we have, we can overcome any challenge." The coalition forces were on high alert as they awaited the inevitable confrontation. The Vanguard and its allies conducted joint exercises and simulations, honing their strategies and improving their coordination. Each member of the coalition knew that the coming battle would test their resolve and their ability to work together as a cohesive unit. The Council's task force, led by the formidable Commander Nix, began its assault on the coalition's positions. The attack came swiftly and with overwhelming force. Zorgan warships and Council forces launched a coordinated strike, targeting key locations with precision. The initial wave of the assault was brutal, and the coalition forces faced heavy resistance. Avery, stationed on the Vanguard's bridge, observed the battle unfold. The sight of enemy ships converging on their positions was both daunting and exhilarating. The Vanguard's advanced weaponry and shield systems were put to the test as they engaged the incoming forces. "Deploy the interceptors," Avery commanded. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers and target their lead ships." The Vanguard's fighters streaked out to engage the enemy, their engines roaring as they closed in on the Zorgan and Council vessels. The space around them erupted in a dazzling display of energy beams and explosions. The coalition's ships fought valiantly, pushing back against the relentless onslaught. Despite their best efforts, the coalition forces found themselves struggling to maintain their defensive lines. The task force's advanced tactics and weaponry were taking a toll on their defenses. Commander Nix's ships, equipped with cutting-edge technology, outmaneuvered and outgunned the coalition forces at every turn. Rios, commanding the Valkorian fleet, coordinated a counterattack. The Valkorian ships, known for their agility and precision, struck at the heart of the enemy's formation. Their attacks created openings in the Zorgan and Council lines, allowing the coalition forces to regroup and mount a counteroffensive. "We can't afford to lose ground," Rios said, his voice filled with urgency. "Concentrate fire on their command ships. If we can neutralize Nix's flagship, it might disrupt their coordination." The coalition forces rallied and launched a concentrated assault on Commander Nix's flagship. The intense battle was a testament to the bravery and skill of both sides. Each ship's weapons blazed with energy as they engaged in a fierce struggle for dominance. As the battle raged on, Avery's thoughts were focused on the larger picture. The conflict was not just about individual victories, but about the future of their alliance and the freedom of their people. The stakes were incredibly high, and every decision had the potential to shift the balance of power. Commander Nix's flagship, the Celestial Fury, proved to be a formidable opponent. Its advanced shields and weaponry made it a difficult target. However, the coalition's combined firepower eventually found a weakness in its defenses. The flagship was heavily damaged, and its command structure began to falter. With the Celestial Fury compromised, the task force's coordination suffered. The Zorkans and Council forces began to lose their edge, and the coalition forces seized the opportunity to press their advantage. The tide of the battle began to turn in their favor. Avery, observing the changing dynamics of the battle, issued a final set of orders. Push forward. We need to exploit this breakthrough and force the enemy into retreat. The coalition forces, reinvigorated by the shift in momentum, surged forward. The Zorkans and Council forces, now disorganized and facing mounting losses, began to withdraw. The retreat was chaotic, with enemy ships fleeing in all directions. The Vanguard and its allies pursued the retreating forces, ensuring that their victory was decisive. The battle had been intense, but the coalition's resilience and unity had carried the day. As the last of the enemy ships vanished from view, the coalition forces took a moment to regroup and assess their situation. The aftermath of the battle was a mix of relief and reflection. The coalition had secured a significant victory, but the cost had been considerable. The damage to their ships and the casualties sustained were a stark reminder of the sacrifices made in their struggle for freedom. Avery, standing on the bridge of the Vanguard, looked out at the stars. The battle had been a test of their resolve and their ability to fight against overwhelming odds. They had proven their strength, but the conflict was far from over. Rios joined Avery, his expression one of grim satisfaction. "We've achieved a great victory, Captain, but we must remain vigilant. The Zorkans and the Council will not give up easily." Avery nodded in agreement. "We've shown that we can stand against the greatest threats, but there's still much work to be done. We need to continue our efforts to secure our future and ensure that the galaxy understands the strength and determination of our alliance." As the Vanguard and its allies prepared for the next phase of their campaign, they knew that the struggle for freedom and autonomy was an ongoing battle. The galaxy's fate hung in the balance, and the coalition's resolve would be tested in the days to come. Captain Avery and his team remained steadfast in their mission. They had proven that they could overcome the challenges they faced, and they were determined to continue their fight for a future where they could live free from oppression. The galaxy watched with bated breath as the conflict unfolded, each side preparing for the battles that would shape the future. The outcome of this struggle would determine the course of history, and the brave